The famous question the commentators ask. We have a tradition based on the Gemara in Yuma that Avram was Mekayim Kol HaTorah Kulo. That Avram fulfilled, not only Avraham, but the Avos as well, Yitzchak and Yaakov and others as well. Well, Mekayim Kol HaTorah Kulo. They fulfilled the whole Torah even before it was given. As Chazal tell us, God looked at the world, God looked at the Torah and created the world. The Torah was always there. And we have a tradition, Afilu Eruve Tavshilin. The Gemara's example is even the mitzvah of Eruv Tavshilin, to prepare on Yontif for Shabbos, even that Avram did. Pashtus is telling me even Dini D'Rabbanan, even rabbinic laws Avram kept. There's an interesting Meshach Chachma, the why specifically Erev Tavshilin for Avraham, Erev Techumin for Yaakov, because Erev Tavshilin enables a person to cook on Yontif for Shabbos in order they could have many people, they could have a lot of food, they could have guests. The whole essence of Avraham Avinu was Hachnosis Orchem, and therefore that's the example of Erev Tavshilin. And Yaakov, he was turning inward. He was trying to build his own bias, his own family. So that's Erev Techumin. You make it. It's more of a turning inward. So either way, that was Avram Avinu. It was Makayim Kol HaTorah Kulo even before it was given. So the question is, why by Milah did Avram not keep? Why did Avram wait for a command to do Milah? Just like all other mitzvahs, he volunteered it. So why could he volunteer Milah as well? So simple answer is because Milah represents a bris, a covenant, a treaty. You need two people to make a peace treaty. It doesn't help to have one party involved, so therefore he needed someone else to make a bris by himself. Really wasn't going to be too meaningful. A2 from the Vilna Gaon and the Maral Diskin, that we have a print of the Gemara tells us in Kedushin, Gadol ha-mitzvah v'yosa m'she'einu mitzvah v'yosa. Greater is the one who does a mitzvah who is commanded than one who just volunteers and does it. And even though it's counterintuitive, Tosfos points out that it's much more difficult to do something if you have to do it. So therefore, it's more difficult so you get more schar. So the Mefarshim point out, so that's why he waited to do the Bris Milah, because Gadol ha-mitzvah v'yosa m'she'einu mitzvah v'yosa. If that's the case, so what about all the other ones? He should have waited to be commanded on all the mitzvahs before he did it. So the Vilna Gaon answers that no, by Milah is unique, because all other mitzvahs you could do many times. You could put on talis, you could put on tefillin. The fact that I put on talis yesterday doesn't take away from today. If I put on tefillin when I keep Shabbos, but Bris Milah I can only do once. So I only can do the Ma'aseh Chaticha once, and therefore Gadol ha-mitzvah v'yoseh by Milah. That's why he waited for a commandment. Others point out that really, if without the tzivoy, it would have been prohibited to do Milah because you can't injure oneself, and it would be a isser of chavala, of causing damage. It's like you can't cut off your finger, you can't damage any areas, and therefore, you had to wait for the mitzvah Milah in order to be permitted to do the Bris Milah. And it's a famous answer from the Brisker Rav that says that it was the mitzvah Milah that created the status of an Aral. In other words, before you had a mitzvah Milah, there's nothing wrong with not being circumcised. It's not just the physical foreskin, it's the fact that Aral was also a davar tuma. It's only because once you have the mitzvah Milah, like the Meshach Chachma pointed, that's why right after the mitzvah Milah we find Avram bowing. When God talks to him, he put his face down, and Rashi writes because of the Gilai Shechina, he couldn't stand. What about all the other times? The other time he wasn't in Aral. Therefore he didn't feel incomplete standing in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So the Brisker Rav says the mitzvah of Mila that creates the status of, so therefore he needed to get the commandment first before he could do it. And in fact, that's a whole discussion in the Yerushalmi in terms of being Sach Shemen Shel Truma, that someone who's an Aro can't, a Kohen Aro is a problem. So the question is, could you Sach Shemen Shel Truma? So before day 8 there's no mitzvah, so therefore he's not an Aro. But the question is, but once it's day 8, so then it's an issue, it's a discussion in the Sham, what about the night of 8? And in fact, this issue of the Brisker Rav raises seems to be a machokes to Rishonim between Rashi and Rabbi Tam in the Gemara in Yevamos about a Kohen Aro, someone who's Meisu Achiv Machmas Mila, his brother died because of the Mila, and therefore it's a sakana, it's also for him to do a Mila. In the case where the halacha says you can't do a Mila, you consider an Aro. So Tam seems to say no, he's not an Aro, and therefore he could eat the Truma, and other Rishonim are saying no. So what's in the Kuda? So maybe everyone agrees it's the mitzvah of Mila that creates the Chalu Shem Aro. But Tam holds this person doesn't have a mitzvah of Mila, and therefore he was never Mechoyev, and therefore he's not an Aro. And other Rishonim are saying no. He is Mechoyev, but he's an Ones, and therefore he can't have it, but he's still, since the Chiyav is on him, so therefore he's still considered an Aro. So those are some of the reasons given, but even though Avram was Makayim Kol Torah Kulo, nevertheless, when it came to the mitzvah of Mila, he waited for the tzivoi, either because you need two to make a treaty, you have the Gra Gadol HaMetzuva V'Yosef B'Sheinu, you waited to be commanded so you could get the great schar. And number 3, he waited for the tzivoi else would be Yasa, because else he'd violate the prohibition of making a wound. Or 84, like the Brisker Rav, it's the mitzvah of Mila that creates the chalos, the status of an Aro. So therefore, if before the mitzvah of Mila wasn't an Aro, so there's nothing, you could cut the foreskin, but that's nothing to do with the mitzvah of Mila. The mitzvah of Mila was only created after you have the status of an Aro, and that seems to be Yerushalmi's issue, and that seems to be the machokes Rabbi Tam and Rashi regarding a Kohen Aro who can't get a Mila because Meisu Achiv Machmas Mila, is he permitted to eat the Truma, i.e. does he have the status of an Aro or not? The Gemara tells us in Brachas, Daf Chavav Amud Beis, who instituted the mitzvah of Tefillah. Whether Tefillah is Avos Tiknun, is it corresponding to the Avos, or is it corresponding to the Tamidim, to the Karbana? So the Rambam writes in Hilchos Melachim, Perek Tes Halacha Aleph, Ba Avraham v'hu ispalo shacharis. Avram came and he davened shacharis, morning service. Yitzchak hifrish meiser. Yitzchak took off meiser, ties. V'hosef tefila acheres lifnos hayom, and he davened mincha. He davened another tefila, which is mincha lifnos yom, as the pasuk says, Vayetze Yitzchak asuach basadeh lifnos erev. V'Yaakov hosef gid hanasha. And Yaakov added Gid Hanasha, V'Hispalel Aravis. So we see the Rambam gives us a list, in fact, of the Avos during mitzvahs. As Rav Soloveitchik explained, there's a machlokes among the Rishonim Achronim, what was the status of the Avos Kodem Matan Torah? So some say they just had a din of Bnei Noach, the Pashtus. Others say no, they had a din in Yisrael. Rav Yosef Engel has a whole discussion, etc. So Rav Soloveitchik said it's somewhere in the middle. That basically, where did we get Kedusha? We get Kedushas Yisrael from doing mitzvahs. Asher Kedushano Mitzosav Vitzivanu. And therefore the Avos added more mitzvahs, and that's why they had a quasi-status of in between a Bnei Noach, a Ben Noach, and a Yisrael. Uvapashas Mavur Midvarav. So what do we see from this Rambam? It seems that Yitzchak Tika and Tfilas Mincha, even though he didn't Interesting, he doesn't write the word V'hosef Tefillah Acheres Lufnos Yom, but the pashas of the Rambam is that that Yitzchak instituted Tefillah, and that's like Rabbi Yossi's opinion in the Gemara and Brachas Daf Chavav and Beis. Tefillah's Avos Tiknun. But Tanya Kavah said Yitzchak Tikan Tefillah's Mincha. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi Polig Sham the Tefillah's Keget Tamidas. That's a machloket in the Gemara. The Rambam seems to be working with the opinion that Tefillah's Avos Tiknun, and hence Yitzchak instituted Tefillah's Mincha. However, that's the Rambam in Hilchos Malachim. If you look at the Rambam in Hilchos Tefillah, Perek Aleph Halacha Hey, you'll get a different story. Because of the Tefillah, can I get to meet them? The Rambam Paskin Tefillah corresponds to the Karbanos. V'zehu l'shono, this is his language. V'chein tiknu she'minyan ha-tefillas k'minyan ha-karbanos. The number of tefillas should correspond to the number of sacrifice you bring. Shtei tefillas b'chol yom, k'neged shnei tamidim. You have 2 tefillas every day. The tefillah she'k'neged tamid shel boker is called shacharis. The tefillah she'k'neged amayim he nikras tefillas mincha. So what do we see? So we see from the Rambam and Hilchos Malachim, it sounds like he paskins Yitzchak Tikan Tefillas Mincha. On the other hand, when it comes to the Hilchos Tefillah, he writes Keneged Tamidim Tiknan. V'yitachin Omer Shemashakasav Rambam sheYitzchak Hispala Mincha Ein Kavanaso sheYitzchak Tikan Tefillas Mincha Uve'emes Das HaRambam sheTefillas Keneged Tamidim. So it's a kasha. So what's going on here is why do we daven mincha corresponding to the karbanos or corresponding to the avos? So there's a very interesting Rambam in Perish HaMishnayos that the Marit Chayis in Brachas in Tviyas HaShachar wants to answer. The Rav Salvation used to always say that the Avos is the history of Tefillah. That's what the Rambam's giving in Hilchos Malachim. But in Hilchos Tefillah, he's giving us the halacha, Tefillah Keneged Tamidim. And that's along the lines, that's what the Marit Chayis writes. Sha'av shetikan Yitzchak Tefillas Mincha, even though Yitzchak instituted Tefillas Mincha, Mikol Makam Anu Mechayuvim Kain Rak Mishum Takanas Chazal. It's true Yitzchak daven Mincha, Avram daven Shacharis, Yaakov Meir, but that's not why I daven Shacharis. That's not why I'm obligated to daven Shacharis or Mincha. V'hu al-pi ma'shakasu b'Rambam Perish is a famous Rambam in the Perish HaMishnayos, Chulin Zayin Vav, and I quote, V'zel Shono. Shakoma sha'anu nizhara mimenu osino so hayom. Anything we do today, ein anu osim zos ela meitziva Hashem ayidei Moshe. We only do it because of Nevuas Moshe Rabbeinu, Torah's Moshe. That's the only reason it's binding if it was given at Har Sinai. Lo mebnei Hashem siva bakach l'neviim. Not because he told previous prophets to do things. The fact that he told other prophets, Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, to do things that's not relevant to me. Not relevant, might be relevant to me, but it's not binding upon me. In other words, Ein anu ochlim eiver min hachai. Why don't we eat? There's a prohibition of eiver min hachai, tearing a limb off a live animal. Lo mibnei shaya asar al b'nei noach eiver min hachai. That's not why it's prohibited to me. Moshe asar leno eiver min hachai b'vashem b'Sinai. Only because Moshe repeated the prohibition on Har Sinai, so Yishar eiver min hachai asar. So that's one example. Ein anu molim. Ein anu molim b'glal she'Avram molas atzbo v'anshe beiso. We don't do circumcision because Avram did it, because Avram was commanded. And so he gives an example for Eiver min hachai, v'mila, and Gid HaNasha. V'chein Gid HaNasha, ein anu nimshachem bo achar isu Yaakov Avinu, ela tzivay Moshe Rabbeinu. And that's what the Marit Chayis writes. Shekain Yeshon Gabi Takanas Tefillah Sha'af Yitzchak Tiken Takana. Even though Yitzchak instituted Tefillas Mincha, Anu Mechayovim Rak Mishum Titin Chazal Negative Midim. So therefore, similarly, we only do things because we're not mechayev anything because of the Avos, mechayev because it was repeated in Har Sinai. So Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov instituted. So that's the history behind Tefillah. We learn history, we learn attitudes, reason, makdim, and mitzvahs. But mitzvahs we only learn from Moshe Rabbeinu, and that's why the Rambam Paskins in Hilchos Tefillah, when he's telling us halacha, it's a takanas chazal, Tefillah keneged karbanos.